Mi amigos, Undead Unluck, chapter 122. My apologies if I sound tired today. Evo Finals was on last night. Dragon Ball Fighters? That boy Wawa had to go get it. Shout out Nitro though, US. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. We got Undead Unluck to talk about. Let's get into it, Remetru. So hella information was dropped on us this chapter, and due to that, I'm going to be a little bit out of order in terms of just following page by page of the manga. However, you're gonna feel me, I'm just covering the chapter, baby. So as we jump into things, we're talking about Jules' past along with the arc / the round table. Jules is sitting there in a very young state, and at the moment, I'm assuming that this could potentially be the very first Jules to jump on the round table, to jump on the arc, and to go through to another loop, which is very interesting just due to the age of both her and Victor at this point. From how it's depicted, it seems like whenever an individual jumps on the arc to go through to another loop, it's a very quick process. It seemed like it was almost immediate. So an individual speaks, and presumably this could be Luna, just given the fact that she's sort of been the mediator, working with individuals who use the round table so far, but they say that hereby recognize you as a traveler for this loop, and you go forward in that period of time. And that's the thing. It acts as a sort of time warp, and a time warp that only goes forward for the individual writing the arc. They teleport forward in time to a period which the Earth is inhabitable by humans, and this is interesting because we learn that Victor, being an immortal, being somebody who is allowed to survive the loops, actually doesn't just go to the time where it's inhabitable. Whenever the Earth was still in its molten state, Victor was still sitting on it, just having to burn and crispy himself up, probably with some fried chicken or something, just due to the fact that he's still on the Earth after its gigantic explosion and destruction at the hand of Kami. But the period of time in which the user of the round table gets there actually depends on how much power is stored up within the arc. So we know that the arc has decreased in power ever since Jules has begun using it, and we see that she started using it at a very young age, which we'll tie into it a little bit more later as we learn about the aging system whenever using the arc. But the first time she used it, she was transported nearly 4.4 billion years into the future, which kind of equated to her being within the Jurassic era. And as she's within the Jurassic era, she finally gets outside and she meets up with Victor. Victor tells her that he has been stuck here this entire time. She has this sort of like, oh my god, realization moment, just figuring out that he has been surviving this entire time without her. But it's funny because there's just so much interesting shit kind of built into the arc that we hadn't even thought about yet. And as mentioned, the power goes down each subsequent trip. So given where the arc is currently at in terms of energy housed within it, Fuuko and Andy, the people to board the arc this time, well, just Fuuko, my apologies, I sound like an idiot, I'm tired. They would actually be arriving sometime near the 1800s, which obviously led Fuuko to ask, like, damn, so if we're gonna get to the 1800s, you've been on multiple loops, you've been to a period of time, like the Jurassic era, like there was literally a Brachiosaurus in the shot whenever we were first seeing them. How do you look so good, girl? How do you look so young? She answers. She says that she looks so young due to the fact that the one who actually rides the arc never ages. They get trapped in this sort of cycle of greetings and goodbyes, and this was really stuck out to me because you figure out a little bit more about the past of Jules. And the similarities, the parallels between her and Victor and Fuuko and Andy are so freaking uncanny. Fuuko is literally the young Jules, just a very empathetic and very passionate young woman. As somebody who wants to get her job done, who wants to accomplish this grandiose task, but is still a very sweet woman in doing it. But the new Jules that we see is obviously a lot more grounded in reality. She's seen a lot of troubles and toils, and that's all affected her a lot. She even admits that during this chapter, and that's the same exact parallel that we see between Victor and Andy. Victor actually got to this point where he was just so jaded and he hated the world so much just because he'd seen reality so many times. He had to say goodbye to so many friends and he hated everything so much that he just became Victor, the Divine Conqueror, the black hair don't care individual that we know during this series. And that actually even happened to Andy in his past as well. Andy actually had to have Fuuko implant herself into his memories in order for him to sort of gain a sort of perspective in which you can look at the tragedies of life and understand the beauty behind them. But it's cool that they are sort of the failed mentality in terms of trying to get this grandiose task done. You need to have the positive outlook that Fuuko has in comparison to Juiz, who obviously lost it at some point down the line. But dude, shit's dope. And given the fact that Juiz had gone through this experience multiple times and she understood that through not aging and through going through multiple loops, she had clouded her mind with doubt due to the guilt and all these terrible experiences which you had. She felt that Fuuko and Andy had to be aware of this. They had to understand what they were truly getting themselves into, and especially Fuuko. She tells her that, hey, I really do trust you, the fact that you two individuals came here today. I do trust your resolve, but you need to hear all these stories I have to tell you. And after telling those stories, which is really just encompassing what I was just talking about, she says that there's one more thing I need to know. What's your vision of justice? She says that for me to truly understand you, I want to know, how do you think you're going to go on and change the world during this next loop? Fuuko tells you that she wants to see Tatiana wearing clothes, and hell yeah, so do I. I want to be able to make a thumbnail of Tatiana someday where she has clothes on, because, I'm an adult, and I don't do weird shit like that. However, she would also like to see Top being able to run full speed, which didn't make much sense to me. Top always be fast as hell, and nonetheless, she wants to see Shikara pull up to school. She wants to see the individuals who were touched and by her unluck, not like that. And all in all, she just wants people to be alive. She wants it to be a world where people don't have to go through these sort of hardships, but she understands that that's not real. She understands that hardships actually are a good thing for people. It's what brought her to being able to meet Andy that day. And Andy even agrees, hell yeah, living through hardships allows you to progress as a human being, to be able to truly become stronger. But the thing that she doesn't want is for those hardships to be out of your own grasp, to be out of your own hands. She doesn't want an individual such as God. And within this panel you see the negators, the people who were gifted hardships by God for no dang reason. She doesn't want that to be a thing, and that's why she had mentioned all these things. She doesn't want people to have to abide by these sort of rules and these sort of hardships which are dealt to them by an outside individual, somebody who doesn't even inhabit Earth. She just doesn't want that. She wants people to be able to live as they want to live, to be able to die if they want to die, to be able to handshake if they want to handshake. And I felt this speech, Fuuko. You are really the GOAT, girl. You're the GOAT, girl. I love me a good Fuuko speech. This is one of the most optimistic characters within the Shonen Jump. And although we may have believed that was impossible beforehand, Juiz informs us of some big shit right here. She says that, I understand that, Fuuko, and that's only in your nature, that you want to be able to live with everybody. You want everything to be able to be perfect. And surprisingly, given how fate works out, and given how destiny has truly followed you two individuals, how these laws of causality have been playing themselves around Undead and Unluck, that same thing that affords you a chance to actually do that has rolled back up to our doorstep. You look over at Andy and you're like, huh? She says, yeah, you, buddy. Whenever you popped up with Fuuko, I never thought I'd see this again. Since Gina left, since you got captured and got expedited, you got released by Nico, I never thought that this would ever happen. That artifact within your head, the artifact Remember, is back within our grasp. Apparently, the key to achieving Fuuko's vision of having all of the same people or whatever the hell around. What, dude? I am so interested. So, does this entail that this artifact allows you to remember everything? Oh wait, can it give other people memories too, maybe? is that what it could potentially do? So you could just make Tatiana realize, like, hey, I'm your friend, I'm your girl. You can make Top realize, hey, I'm your friend, I'm your girl, which could make a little bit of sense, because that's how, like, somebody like Jules could potentially, like, gather everybody in the Union using an artifact such as Remember, knowing how to get everybody back on her side each time. But dude, wait, what? This chapter was so freaking dope. And like I said, seeing the parallels of this young Jules and a young Victor to the exact same way that Andy and Fuuko act, just these very playful individuals where you almost just don't even see a difference between them aside from freaking Jules being blonde and Fuuko being dark hair. Like, it was so dope just seeing the way that they behaved and the way they acted in this chapter. And like, seriously, what does Andy's card do? I really want to understand what the artifact Remember is, because I truly believe throughout the series, this is one that definitely slipped past me. Hey, drop a comment in the comment section if you don't want to cap about it. This one actually surprised me a lot. Just the fact that I honestly didn't believe this card within his head meant much. I thought it was kind of a placeholder, and that's what I'm wondering. Were they using an artifact as a placeholder, as something that just jammed and like kind of held back memories within his head? Or is it doing its job in a sense right now? Is that a way to actually use the artifact Remember to hold back something, to make you not remember something? Is like kind of jab it in somebody's head? But I really thought that it was just like a, for instance, I shoved a pole in somebody's head and that pole made him forget something type shit. I wonder if this artifact has a button or yada 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 on it that really makes it do some shit, or if it's just like a flash drive. Dude, I don't know. I'm rambling. I've been rambling. This chapter got me hype. Undead Unluck is getting me hype. We have a 2-week break though. Yoshifumi, I don't know what that's about. Nah, I can't be mad. Yoshifumi's a goat ski. Got a lot of crap coming up, dude. I'm gonna be busy lately too, soon. So sorry if there's any slowdown in videos. However, we gonna keep getting it. The Negator video will hopefully be coming this weekend. Well, this week. Wasted a lot of time this weekend researching and shit. There's dogs barking in the hallways. I don't know. I gotta go.